The Persona franchise is pretty popular worldwide. Not only does each game have a successful, sales record and franchise, but so does the animes that end up coming out of it. The most recent one being Persona 5, which has an anime and it has two different spin off games, as well as a crossover game with Persona 3, 4, and of course, 5 in Persona Q and Persona Q2. But nobody thinks of, the other games in the franchise. More specifically, the Shin Megami Tensei part of the franchise. There's actually a very overlooked anime that was a spin-off and based on one particular Shin Megami Tensei game. And I kind of want to do a either weekly or semi-weekly episodic review of it, and maybe even compare each episode to how it is in the game. Devil Survivor 2 is a 3DS game, and it's basically like two games in one, and it has like several different endings that you can get based on the choices you make, who you save, and who you choose to align with. And it's very, very intricate, and the story is amazing, and it really just tugs at you and makes you ponder like what's right, what's wrong, how would I stand in certain situations. Morality, justice, and all that aside, there is only one thing that helps me pick who I side with, and that is white-haired men. And there's only two endings I care about, and one thing to consider. Do I stand with Elcor, the Anguished One, and his stripy butt? Or do I stand with Yamato, who just really loves me and is unable to express his feelings? I struggle every time I play this game. Who do I side with? And trust me, this is not me misinterpreting. When I say Yamato loves you, he freaking loves you. Like, there is no way this can be taken out of context. Or this. Who says that? And of course, we got this little bit of, dialogue as well with female Tico. And then we have this dialogue choice that we can pick as well. Like, sorry, dude. Yamato loves you. He is hibiki sexual, or whatever you choose to name your character. Normally, I name my protagonist Nico, but this time around for my playthrough, I am going with Maya, because I'm super obsessed with Escape the Infinity, so, In the anime, it appears that they have chosen the default name, Hibiki, and I'm very curious to see what ending the anime goes with, but I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be, like, the world regression is what I'm assuming, because that's, like, a pretty normal, typical ending. So, and it's also the one that is considered canon for the sequel, so we'll see. By the way, the anime is actually on sale right now on sentaifilmworks for $4 on DVD and like around $10 for Blu-ray. And honestly, it wouldn't hurt to get it. That's super, super cheap. The game, on the other hand, can be a bit more difficult to get and pricey. Right now, the cheapest I can see it is used for about $50. Otherwise, it can be upwards to around $100. So, a little pricey, but honestly, a super good game. And if you can, and you have a 3DS, I would suggest getting it. Alright, now that we've all got that out of the way, let's finally talk about Episode 1 of Devil Survivor 2, the animation. Episode 1 starts pretty much the same way that the game starts, with Daichi, his best friend, asking him how he did in some tests, and it seems that the answer given is reflecting that we're getting the cocky protagonist. So that's something. We get a romantic moment between Hibiki and Daichi, which, It wasn't surprising to me because even in the game, they have a bromance that just speaks volumes. It is so loud. Daichi is just 100% for his best friend. He's like one of those, hetero life partners, basically. We then see a sneak peek at one of the death videos, which I'll explain more later. Not even that much later. Pretty darn soon. At a coffee shop, Daichi and Hibiki are having a bit of a crisis. They're about ready to graduate and go off to college, and they don't really know what they want to do with their lives, and growing up is scary, and they're struggling a little bit with the fact. Daichi ends up showing Hibiki the app that he had found that's really popular now called Deadface, where you can see how your friends will die. Why you would want this on your phone? I don't know, but it's really popular. You take a picture of yourself after you download it, and then you can pick who you want to explain things to you and be your guide, either male Tico or female Tico. And it appears in the anime that they're obviously going to go right away with big boobied female Tico. Honestly, between male Tico and female Tico, it was really a no-brainer for me. I always picked male Tico. Not only is male Tico a real gentleman and soothes my fears, but also female Tico, in both the anime and the game, has a really annoying, preppy laugh and voice. So far, we haven't even seen male Tico, but I see that he does appear. Unfortunately, he's not voiced by Jerry Jewell, which is a huge disappointment, but not surprising. Not all the voice actors returned from the game to the anime. I will forever find it weird, though, that Daichi was so eager to introduce a app that foretells your friends and your death to him. Like, he's your bro. Why do you want to traumatize him, okay? We next meet Io, big boobied, empty-brained, scaredy cat Io, who I've had issues with in the game, and I don't know if I'm going to like her anymore in the anime, but we'll see. Just like in the game, Daichi has a huge boner for Io. Like, huge. And I feel like that's really the only purpose she serves, is to be a love interest for Daichi. I don't know. Like, I don't hate her. It's just she was really annoying and weak in the game. Daichi asks Hibiki, what do you think about her? And Hibiki's not interested, because of course he isn't. He has no interest. Hibiki, he just wants Yamato. No, I'm just kidding. Or am I? Nah. His likes and dislikes are very much usually dependent on the player. But in the anime, Io's not his type. Both their phones go off, and they open their phones. Yeah, because this is flip phone era. Isn't that dated? And they see that they both have received death videos. The videos basically show them both being crushed by a derailed subway. So, that looks painful. They realize that the death video shows them dying where they presently are. But before they can even think to escape, it already is being derailed. And they're looking at the crash right about to make impact with them. Everything goes dark, and just as it seems like, they're gonna die, Ibiki gets a message asking, do you want to live or do you want to die? Which again also happens in, the game. Of course, he says yes, and we get a brief explanation on how the app works. I'm not going to go into detail about it because I don't really feel like it in the moment, but, if you're watching along with me, you know. He wakes up and he's in pain, but otherwise he's pretty okay. He goes to check on Daichi, who has a bit of a head wound. Like a dumb boy like Daichi can afford a head wound. Am I right? No, I'm just kidding, Daichi. I love you. So he goes to check on him because they're bros. And things start to get even creepier, if possible. And we see these, wolf creatures. I don't remember what their actual names were, but they're feasting on the dead bodies. And there's some other creatures as well. And they're just eating them, and it's really gross. Oh, and of course, Io is, cornered and looking like, she's gonna die because she's useless. God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Io. I am so sorry. The anime actually does make her somewhat useful right at the start here, because in the anime, she's the first to actually summon a creature to help fight and defend them. So, good on you, Io. Daichi actually summons the second one, a cute little poltergeist, and I just really have always thought that the poltergeist is the cutest little thing, and it is doubly cute in the anime. I love everything about the poltergeist, even if he is kind of, useless after a while. The three of them manage to get out of the subway station, and they see that the creatures have gone back into their respective phones, and that they're healing, because that's how it works in the game. After a while, they'll go back in the phone, and then they'll heal and, get better. At least they do in Blessed difficulty. I don't know if they do on the other difficulty, but they do in the anime too, so maybe it's both difficulties where this happens. Above ground, we see that the city is a mess. People are panicking, crowded. There's just so much destruction, and three of them are just kind of struggling to figure out what's going on. Are their families okay? What is going on? As this is going on, Hibiki sees that something else is downloading onto the app as well. It cuts away, and we see a couple of their, profile statuses, and I just want to share that Daichi's most desired job is he wants to drive. And also, he wants to be a snowboarder. And I think that is just so pure of him. When it cuts back, we see more of the destruction. There's a newscast that's trying to get through, but it's not really getting through. And Daichi's struggling to actually hear what's going on his phone, but he does find out his family's okay, and it seems like Hibiki's as well. Right around this time, JP, the secret organization, appears. And they clearly know what's going on, and they're hinting at it, but they take over from the rescue mission, and the rescue people are like, hey, what are you doing? Stop. Io is rightfully worried in this moment because she cannot get a hold of her parents. She doesn't know if they're alive or they're dead, and it's hard to even move around or, get to place to place, so she doesn't know what she's going to do. Hibiki suggests that the three of them go check out the area that she's from and maybe see if, her parents are okay. Better than, just sitting around doing nothing. Later that night, Io still hasn't heard from her parents. They're still pretty much around the same area. And Daichi comes back with some drinks for all of them. Because, Daichi's a good bro. He's a good lad. The two of them play rock, paper, scissors over a drink. And of course, Hibiki wins because Hibiki's the man. They happen to look up, and what I like to call the ice cream monster appears in the sky. And he looks ridiculous, right? But he is freaking annoying. And I hated battling these in the game because they got increasingly difficult as time went on. After lingering on the ground for not too long, it pretty much explodes. And then it becomes more powerful, and it starts blasting people and things just get they get a little crazy. Io's demon, the ogre thing, ugly ogre thing, appears, and it tries to, protect them, but it doesn't do a good job. Things take a dark turn when Hibiki receives a death video of Daichi, who hadn't been around them for a little bit. And he sees, unfortunately, it looks like Daichi is going to die in a truck explosion and be taken by Truck-kun. How dare you, Truck-kun, always taking people's lives. Hibiki is rightfully freaking out. And he's looking around oh my god, Daichi, no. And that's when he hears a commotion, and he sees Daichi's in a truck, and he is barreling towards the ice cream monster, and of course he crashes into it, and there's a big explosion, and it seems like Daichi is no more, and Daichi is just gone. which causes, Hibiki to freak out. And that's when he finally summons his monster. I do find it strange that he summons his first monster then in that moment so far later, because in the game, they all pretty much get their monsters at the exact same time at the subway station, and I do not understand why he had to get his later, or why his has to be way more grand. I guess that's because he's got that protagonist aura. It's around this time that my number one husbando of this game, Yamato, shows up, and you can just see a little bit of his face, and of course he's not smiling, Mr. Grumpy Gus. The JP woman we saw earlier, whose name is Makoto, I don't think I said what her name is yet, she's observing this whole thing, and she's freaking out because Hibiki is summoning a very powerful. And of course, in the anime, they have to make it again, like I said, so grand and mystical. And it's not really all that mystical in the game, so it's just really funny to me. He actually summons one of my personal favorite demons to have on my team, Byakko, and I had no complaints with this being apparently the decided primary demon that he would have. We see Yamato is watching the scene, and he's smiling. Oh, I know we can't see his eyes yet, but he's just... I love that he's happy. Although Yamato happy is not usually a good thing. Hibiki's mad because he thinks his friend is dead, right? So he's like, hey, you know what? Byakko, you go just destroy this ice cream cone monster. He doesn't say those exact words, but it's paraphrased. It's implied. And, the tiger does. He just rips it apart. As soon as the fight's over, they've won. Hibiki goes to the fiery pit to try to see if he can see his, friend's body. Doesn't see anything. And then he hears Daichi's voice from up above, and it turns out a pixie had saved him in the nick of time. From the point of view of Makoto's binoculars, we see Hibiki go and just hug him before, cruelly moves away. We don't get to see the full hug, and I call malarkey. After checking on Io, it zooms in more on, his face, Hibiki's. And from here, we see, Yamato's looking at a screen and just zeroing in on Hibiki's face, already obviously enthralled by what should be his man. He orders Makoto to take them in to the JP JIP headquarters. After which we see, the lights shined on their faces, and we see Makoto basically tell him, we're taking you in. And then the episode ends with us seeing Alcor, or the English'd one. Again, disappointingly not voiced by Jerry Jewell, but it's fine, I'll get over it. The voice they did pick did sound really good and fitting of the character, so, I'll forgive, okay? I'll forgive. But it ends with him calling Hibiki the Shining One, which is something that he refers to the protagonist as throughout the whole game. And that was episode 1. I feel like it was a good setup. It pretty much follows the game thus far. There are some changes, obviously, like I've mentioned, not just the voice actors, but just like the order of things and the flow. I imagine they did this just to make it run smoothly for the anime, because, things run differently story-wise when it comes to how games are in anime. So I'm going to try to be understanding of that. And they also, I guess, have to make things a little more interesting. So let me know down below, what did you guys think? Are you guys interested in this series at all? Is there anything that you wish I would eventually cover? Keep in mind, I have a list. But I might be able to, do a 1-episode impression, probably, maybe. But yeah, other than that, I am a little bit behind on Skate Infinity, so I might do another double episode review at some point this upcoming week. We'll see. For sure, at least 1 episode will be uploaded, and then I do want to try to do actor-song connection, but I don't know for sure if I'm going to do that this upcoming week or if it's going to be the week after. But for sure, one of those days. It's a little crazy right now for the next upcoming few days, but I do want to try to get in at least 2 reviews. What those reviews will be, I do not know. But yes, for sure one of them will be Skate the Infinity. So, yeah. All right, with all that said, talk to you later, guys. Bye.